Introduction, the workshop of the invisible potter. Look around you at this very moment. Observe the walls that protect you, the vehicle in which you move, the electronic device through which you hear my voice. Touch the clothes you wear. Feel the solidity of matter under your feet. All of that, absolutely everything that your physical eyes can see and your hands can touch, was once invisible. Before being steel, concrete, glass, or cloth, all those things were simply a ghost. They were an electric spark in the silent darkness of a human consciousness. They were an image held in the mind's eye. Ancient scriptures reveal a fundamental mystery on their first pages. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. For centuries, humanity has interpreted this in a childish way, thinking that God has a physical body like ours. But deep metaphysics teaches us the truth. The likeness is not physical, it is functional. God is, by definition, the supreme creator. He is the infinite mind that imagines worlds and brings them into existence. Therefore, you, made in his image, are in essence a creative spirit. You are not here to survive, eat, and die. You are here to do the same as the Father, to take the invisible substance of the universe, imagination, and condense it into tangible realities. Great structures, commercial empires, and technologies that defy logic do not appear by accident. Beautiful houses and fast cars, none of this appears by accident. They are the physical precipitation of a sustained faith. However, we must face a hard truth from the beginning, a truth that separates frustrated dreamers from the architects of their destiny. The scriptures also warn, faith without works is dead. I have met many people with gigantic dreams, people with an active mind's eye, but who live lives of silent desperation and lament. They have wanted to be rich, they have wanted to be great, but they forgot the second part of the equation. They believed that visualization replaced preparation. The universe is a precision mechanism. If you decide to be rich in your mind, the universe will move mountains to give it to you, but you must be ready to receive it. Have you trained yourself? Have you studied? Have you sharpened your intellect and your character to sustain the weight of imminent success? Many want wealth at all costs, but are not willing to transform. Many want the gold, but they do not want to become the vessel capable of containing it. They are not willing to pay the price of personal transformation. In this audiobook, we are going to destroy that passivity. We are going to understand that when you decide to be rich, in reality you already are. Already, the act of deciding changes your vibratory identity instantly. The physical world is simply a slow mirror. It takes a while to reflect your new image, but it is inevitable that it will do so if you maintain faith and put in the works. We are not here to play at wishing. We are here to remember who we are. We are the architects of reality. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the eye of my mind. Chapter 1, the divine DNA in image and likeness. If you could reduce the entire universe to a single substance, to a single fundamental fabric, you would find that it is not matter, but consciousness. And if you could look inside yourself, beyond your bones, beyond your blood, beyond your memories and your fears, you would find that same substance vibrating at the core of your being. The greatest discovery a human being can make is not finding a new continent or discovering a new physical law. The greatest discovery is realizing their true identity. For thousands of years, we have been sold a story of smallness. We have been told that we are fragile creatures, biological accidents on a rocky planet. We have been told we are servants destined to obey and suffer. But there is an ancient book, a coded manual of psychology that we call the Bible, which opens its narrative with an explosive statement, a sentence that should make us tremble with wonder every time we read it. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." Stop for a moment. Let those words penetrate. Orthodox religion, often limited by a literal vision, has made us believe that this means that God has 2 arms, 2 legs, and a beard, and that we physically resemble him. But metaphysics, which is the study of the cause behind the form, reveals a much more potent truth. It reveals a truth dangerous to the status quo. God is not a body. God is spirit. God is infinite mind. God is the creative principle of the universe. Therefore, being created in his image and likeness does not refer to your physical appearance. It refers to your functional nature. It refers to your capacity. What does God do? God creates. God imagines worlds and the worlds appear. God conceives laws and the laws operate. If you are his image, then you are not a simple mammal walking on the earth. You are, in essence, a center of divine activity. You are a creator. You possess the divine DNA. You did not only inherit your mother's eye color or your father's height. You inherited the creative power of the source that originated the galaxies. And that power resides in a faculty that we have trivialized and called fantasy, but which the ancient sages knew was the tool of God in man, the human imagination. The creative spirit in matter. Let's look at the world we have built. Go out into the street of a great metropolis. Look up. You will see skyscrapers of steel and glass tearing through the clouds. You will see bridges suspended over mighty rivers. You will see planes weighing hundreds of tons defying gravity. You will see high engineering automobiles that are capsules of speed and comfort. Where did all this come from? A skeptic would say, it came from iron mines, stone quarries, and oil wells. But the metaphysician knows the truth. None of that existed in nature. Nature makes trees and caves. It does not make skyscrapers or iPhones. Everything we call civilization is literally crystallized imagination. For that luxury car you desire to exist in the dealership, there first had to be a moment of conception in the mind of an engineer. He had to close his eyes and see it in his mind's eye. He had to see the curves, the engine, the aerodynamics. He had to see it before a single screw existed in the physical plane. That engineer was using his divine DNA. He was operating under the law of let us make. He said in his mind, let us make a vehicle, and through a process of faith and action, the vehicle appeared. This impulse you feel is part of that. The impulse to have a beautiful house, to drive a good car, to create a tech company, or to travel the world, is not materialism in the pejorative sense. It is not greed. It is the human creative spirit demanding expansion. It is God within you wanting to experience more life. Poverty and limitation are not holy. Poverty, limitation, and scarcity are a restriction of the divine flow. The Creator is infinite and opulent. Look at nature. It does not create one flower. It creates millions. It does not create one star. It creates billions. Therefore, when you desire prosperity, when you desire to build great structures, you are aligned. You are aligned with your spiritual genetics. Desire is not a bad thing. Desire is the engine of creation. It is the seed of God knocking on the walls of your mind, asking to be born in the material world. The error of passivity, dead faith. However, this is where most people get lost and fall into the abyss of frustration. They have misinterpreted metaphysics. They believe that by having divine DNA, they can sit on the couch, close their eyes, visualize $1 million, and wait for it to fall from the ceiling. They believe in magic, not in law. And the universe does not operate by magic, it operates by law. The scriptures are clear and brutal in this aspect. Faith without works is dead, James 2:26. Having the DNA of God does not guarantee you success, just as having the DNA of an Olympic athlete does not guarantee a gold medal. It does not guarantee a medal if you never get up to train. Potential is one thing, kinetics is another. Imagination is the blueprint, but action is the brick. I have seen men and women with brilliant talents, with grand visions in their mind's eye. They dream of being great entrepreneurs, famous artists, or world leaders, but years pass, and their lives remain the same. They live in complaint. They live lamenting their bad luck. They look at the rich and say, "He surely did something illegal," or "He got lucky." They do not understand that the difference between the dreamer and the achiever is not the capacity to dream, but the capacity to act. It is the capacity to embody the dream through work. God provides the vision and the resources, but you must provide the movement. There is a metaphysical story about a man who asked God to win the lottery every day. After years of prayers, a voice thundered from heaven, "Son, please help me a little to at least buy a ticket." This parable, though comical, contains a tragic truth. Many people want the house, but they don't want to learn about real estate. They want the million-dollar business, but they don't want to read sales books, nor learn accounting, nor wake up early to work on their product. They want the harvest without the sowing. And that violates the law of divine DNA. God is a worker. "My Father has been working until now, and I have been working," said the Master. Creation is a dynamic act, not a passive one. Training, the vessel of success. If you accept that you are created in the image of God, you must accept the responsibility to prepare yourself to be a God on earth, a conscious creator. Imminent success is a charge of high-voltage energy. Wealth is energy. Fame is energy. Power is energy. If you try to channel 1,000,000 volts of success through a thin and poorly prepared wire, an ignorant, lazy, or untrained mind, what happens? The wire melts. We see this all the time. People who win the lottery or inherit fortunes without being mentally prepared. In 2 years, they have lost everything. Their lives are destroyed. Why? Because they had the money, the external energy, but they did not have the vessel, the internal structure. When you decide to be rich, the universe says, "Granted. Now, get ready to receive it." That preparation implies study. It implies discipline. It implies changing who you are. If you want to be a great entrepreneur, the divine DNA in you demands that you study the markets, that you understand human psychology, that you perfect your public speaking, that you master your emotions. Ignorance is the only real sin in metaphysics. Ignorance is choosing to live in darkness with the switch in your hand. There are people who live lamenting, "I just didn't have opportunities." The metaphysical truth is that opportunities float around us all the time, but only the prepared mind can see them and catch them. Luck is simply what happens when preparation meets opportunity. If you are not prepared, the opportunity will pass you by. You won't even recognize it. Or worse yet, you will see it, try to take it, and fail because you lack the intellectual and emotional tools to sustain it. The collapse of time. You are already rich. Now let's go deeper into the most radical concept of this chapter. If you have the divine DNA, if your imagination is God in action, then linear time is an illusion that you must learn to transcend. In the spiritual plane, there is no "I am going to be," there is only "I am." When God presented himself to Moses, he did not say, "I will be what I will be." He said, "I am that I am." The name of God is I am. It is present tense. Therefore, when you say, "I want to be rich," you are affirming that you are not. You are decreeing lack. You are putting wealth in the future. The future is a horizon that never arrives. It always recedes as you walk. The metaphysical secret to activating your divine DNA is to assume the identity now. When you truly decide to be rich, in that precise instant, you already are. Why? Because you have changed your state of consciousness. You have moved your psychological dwelling from the neighborhood of poverty to the neighborhood of abundance. Perhaps your bank account still shows 0. Perhaps you still live in a small apartment. It doesn't matter. Those are the current facts, but they are not the truth. Facts are temporary. Facts are the result of your past thoughts. The truth is what you are creating right now in your mind's eye. If you walk, talk, think, and prepare yourself as a rich person, physical reality has no choice but to reorganize itself to match your new identity. It is a law. Like attracts like. If your internal vibration is of wealth, the external world must reflect wealth. But here is where the struggle we were talking about comes in. It is not a struggle against the world. It is a struggle against your old habits. The struggle is getting up every morning and studying finance even if you are broke. The struggle is working on your project with excellence even though no one is paying you yet. The struggle is maintaining the posture of a king when circumstances treat you like a beggar. That is the work that accompanies faith. You are acting as if. And by acting as if, you are inviting that reality to embody. The lament of the living dead. Let's look with compassion but with clarity at those who live lamenting. There are millions. They fill bars and social networks with their complaints. The government is to blame. My boss doesn't value me. I was born in the wrong country. What are they really doing? They are denying their divine DNA. They are abdicating their throne. They are saying, I am not the creator of my reality. They are the creators, and I am the victim. This is the ultimate metaphysical blasphemy. Believing that something external to you has more power than the presence of God within you. The person who lives lamenting has buried their talent. Remember the parable of the talents. To the one who buried his talent out of fear, even the little he had was taken away. To the one who invested and multiplied his talents, preparation, action, risk, more was given. Life does not reward need. It rewards the seed. And the seed is your intention joined with your action. Do not join the chorus of laments. Leave the cemetery of broken dreams. That cemetery is full of people who waited for the perfect moment. The perfect moment does not exist. The only moment is now. The divine DNA only works in the present. You have the capacity to create houses, cars, technology, art, and wealth. That capacity is not in the government. It is not in the economy. It is not in your family. It is in your mind. It is in your capacity to imagine something better and have the courage and the discipline to build it brick by brick. Your inheritance is creation. To close this first chapter and set the foundation for what is coming, I want you to change your definition of yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror today and do not see your wrinkles, nor your tiredness, nor your past. Look through your pupils and recognize the Creator who lives there. Tell yourself, I am a center of expression for the primal creative will. My mind is the workshop of God. My hands are the tools of the infinite intelligence. I was born to create, not to compete. I was born to build, not to beg. Wealth is your birthright, but you must go claim it. It is not handed over to the passive. It is handed over to those who have the audacity to believe in their vision and the tenacity to train for it. Imminent success is waiting for you to rise to its level. When you decide to be rich, the entire universe conspires, but it conspires through your intelligence and sweat. Faith sees the objective. The intellect draws the map. The will walks the path. You have all three. You have the complete DNA. You are already rich in potential. Now we are going to make you rich in facts. We are going to open your mind's eye and start building your new world. In the next chapter, we are going to learn how to use the specific tool of vision. We are going to learn to see the invisible to make the impossible possible. Welcome to your true identity. Chapter 2. The Eye of My Mind, the Four-Dimensional Vision. Close your eyes for a moment. Now think of a red apple. Do you see it? You probably don't see it with the same sharpness as you see your hand in front of your face. Perhaps it is a fleeting image, a ghost of color and shape floating in the darkness behind your eyelids, but it is there. You can describe its color, its roundness, and its texture. Where is that apple? It is not in the room. It is not being captured by your retinas or sent by your optic nerve. Yet it exists. It exists in a place as real as the ground you step on, but situated in a different dimension. That place is your mind's eye. What you just did is the use of the most powerful tool in the universe, four-dimensional vision. Most human beings live as prisoners of the third dimension. They live trapped by what their five senses dictate. If their bank account says 0, they say, "I am poor." If the doctor says incurable, they say, "I am doomed." If the news says crisis, they say, "I am afraid." They are slaves to current facts. They react to life instead of creating it. But the mind's eye is the escape door from that prison. It is the faculty that allows you to travel to the future, bring a possibility that does not yet exist, and overlay it upon the present until physical reality has no choice but to mold itself to it. What is the fourth dimension? Physicists tell us that we live in 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, but mystics and great metaphysicians, from William Blake to Neville Goddard, have always known that a superior dimension exists which penetrates and envelops this physical world. It is the world of imagination. In this dimension, limits of time and space do not exist. In imagination, you are already rich. In imagination, you are already healthy. The house you desire is already built. It is not a lie you tell yourself. It is a vibratory reality that exists at a higher frequency. Your mind's eye is the sensory organ that allows you to see in that frequency. The tragedy of modern education is that it teaches us to trust only our physical eyes. They tell us, seeing is believing. But the mind's eye operates under the opposite law, believing to see. You must understand this. Your physical eyes can only see the past. Yes, the past. When you look at your bank account today, you see a historical record. When you look at your body today, you are seeing the result of your past habits. If you make decisions based only on what your physical eyes see, you are recycling your history. Your mind's eye, however, has the ability to see the future before it occurs. It is the periscope that rises above the murky water of your circumstances. The difference between fantasy and vision. We must make a crucial distinction here. Many people believe they are using their mind's eye when they are actually just daydreaming or fantasizing. There is an abysmal difference between fantasy and creative vision. Fantasy is an escape. It is a drug. Fantasy gives you momentary relief, but it changes nothing. It is passive. It is watching a mental movie where you are a lucky spectator. When the fantasy ends, you return to your reality depressed because the contrast is painful. Creative vision, or four-dimensional vision, is a construction. It is an invasion of reality. When you use creative vision, you are not fleeing. You are working. You are building a mental structure with the firm intention of materializing it. You are the lead actor and the director. You feel the texture of the new reality. You feel the weight of the keys to your new car. You smell the sea on your dream vacation. When you open your eyes, you do not feel depressed. You feel energized with a powerful certainty that what you just saw is already yours and is on its way. The giants who saw the invisible. The history of humanity has been written by men and women who dared to see what no one else saw. Let's talk about Nikola Tesla. This genius had a mind's eye so developed it frightened his contemporaries. Tesla did not use paper blueprints. He did not build physical models. He built entire machines in his mind. He ran turbines mentally for weeks. He observed in his imagination if there was friction, if any part wore out, or if the balance was correct. He corrected the errors in his mind. And when he finally built the physical machine, it worked exactly as he had visualized it. He said, "My inventions are real in my mind long before they are real in my laboratory." Tesla did not invent. Tesla downloaded realities from the fourth dimension. Think of Henry Ford. When Ford had the vision of the V8 engine, he wanted to cast all 8 cylinders in a single block. His engineers, logical experts, told him, "It's impossible. Physically, it cannot be done." Their physical eyes saw technical impossibility, but Ford's mind's eye saw the engine running. Ford told them, "Do it anyway." 6 months passed. Nothing. A year passed. Engineers said, "Sir, it's impossible." Ford replied, "I want it, and I will have it." He kept holding the vision against all physical evidence. Finally, the secret was revealed. The V8 engine became a reality and changed the automotive industry forever. The vision always wins because the vision dictates what matter must do. The workshop of the mind. You have that same power. Your mind is a workshop. The problem is that most people have abandoned their workshop. They leave the windows open and allow any thief, negative thoughts, news, fears to soil the machines. They let the machinery rust through inactivity. Or worse, they use the workshop to build monsters. Did you know that worry is simply the negative use of your mind's eye? When you worry, you are visualizing with great detail and emotion something you do not want to happen. You are using your divine power to create misfortunes. You see failure, illness, and loneliness. Your body reacts with anxiety. You are using four-dimensional vision against yourself. Metaphysical discipline consists of entering your workshop, closing the door, throwing out the thieves, and designing deliberately. If you want wealth, you must build wealth in the fourth dimension first. It must be specific. The universe does not respond to vagueness. If you go to an architect and say, "I want a pretty house," he can do nothing. He needs to know how many floors. What material is the floor? Your mind's eye must be precise. Do not say, "I want money." See the exact number in your bank app. The law of occupation. Neville Goddard taught a fundamental concept called the law of occupation. He said it is not enough to see the promised land from afar. You have to step into it. You have to occupy the desired state. Imagining yourself on a movie screen being rich is a good first step, but it is not enough. That creates separation. You must step inside the screen. You must look through the eyes of the rich person you want to be. Do not see yourself driving the car from the outside. Sit in the driver's seat. See your hands on the steering wheel. Look at the road through the windshield. Feel the acceleration in your stomach. That is immersive four-dimensional vision. When you do this, you trick your reptilian brain and your nervous system. For your biology, it is already happening. When your vibration accepts that it is happening, it emits a magnetic signal that attracts the resources and coincidences necessary to occur in the physical world. Training the eye. The mind's eye is like a muscle. If you have never used it consciously, it will be atrophied. At first, your vision will be blurry. Your mind will wander to your shopping list or a work problem. This is normal. Do not punish yourself. Simply bring your attention back. You must do mental focus exercises. Take a simple object, a key for example. Stare at it for a minute. Study its teeth, its metal, its scratches. Close your eyes and try to recreate it in your mind. If the image fades, open your eyes, look at it again, and close them once more. When you master the key, you can master empires. Because the same muscle that holds the image of a key holds the image of a multinational or a miraculous healing. The average man cannot focus for more than 6 seconds. The genius can hold a vision for years until it manifests. Faith is logical vision in the fourth dimension. We often think faith is blind and illogical, but from the point of view of the fourth dimension, faith is totally logical. If you have already seen the finished building in your mind, walked its halls and touched its walls, is it illogical to believe it will be built? On the contrary, it would be illogical to doubt. For the visionary, doubt is ridiculous because he has already seen it. It's like someone telling you the sun won't rise tomorrow. You laugh because you know the law. The man who has used his mind's eye with precision knows the law of gestation. He knows the seed has been planted in the fertile soil of imagination. He knows the harvest will arrive. He does not worry about the how or the when. He knows the what is already a fact in the mental plane. This calm certainty is what we call faith. Faith is knowing it has already happened. The challenge of double vision. From now on, you will live with double vision. Your physical eyes will show you the current world. Bills, problems, limitation. You must respect that world, but you must not believe in it as the final reality. At the same time, your mind's eye will be fixed on the higher truth. You will walk through the physical world seeing ruins, but in your mind you will be walking through palaces. Eventually, the ruins will turn into palaces. This is the alchemy of the visionary. Do not tell your vision to just anyone. The mind's eye is intimate. If you share your premature visions with small minds, who only use their physical eyes, they will mock you. They will say, "Be realistic." They will try to drag you back to the world of limiting facts. Protect your vision. Keep it in the sanctuary of your mind. Let the results speak for you. Your task as an architect. Your task at the end of this chapter is simple but profound. Stop being a consumer of reality and become an architect of reality. Tonight, before sleeping, do not review the day's problems. Use those magic minutes to turn on the projector of your mind. Design your ideal life. Do not see it as something far away. Bring it to the here and now. Feel the silk sheets of your millionaire bed, even if you sleep on cheap cotton. Feel the gratitude of being who you want to be. Fall asleep in that assumption. You are planting the seeds that will grow tomorrow. Your mind's eye is Aladdin's lamp. It has always been there, covered in dust. Now you know it exists. Now you know how to rub it. The genie is waiting for your command, and the command is not words. The command is clear images held with emotion. Remember, the vision is the blueprint, but we need materials to build. We need engineering. We need to know how to move from the ethereal image to the solid structure. In the next chapter, we will talk about the engineering of the invisible. Open your inner eyes. The journey has just begun. Chapter 3. Engineering of the invisible, blueprints and structures. Imagine walking through a vacant lot. There you see a massive pile of bricks, bags of cement, steel beams, glass, electrical cables and pipes. All the materials are there, piled up in a disordered chaos. If you sit and wait for 1,000 years, do you think those materials will join on their own to form a skyscraper? Do you think the wind will blow with just the right force to place the bricks in a row, and the rain will mix the cement in the perfect proportion? The answer is obvious. No. Matter by itself tends toward entropy, toward disorder. For that pile of inert materials to become a functional, habitable and beautiful structure, an ingredient is needed. This ingredient is not material. It is something you cannot touch, nor weigh, nor measure with a physical ruler. A blueprint is needed. Engineering is needed. Welcome to the Department of Engineering of the Invisible. In the previous chapter, we opened your mind's eye to see the possibility. Now we must learn to structure it. Many dreamers stay in the stage of hazy vision. They say, "I want a better life." But the universe, which is the great builder, responds, "What does better mean? Do you want a cabin in the woods or a penthouse in the city? Do you want peace or fame, health or aesthetics? Give me the blueprints or I cannot build anything." The engineering of the invisible is the art of translating the desires of the soul into clear technical specifications so that infinite intelligence can execute them. Chaos versus cosmos. The word cosmos comes from the Greek and means order. The universe loves order. Nature is pure mathematics. From the spiral of a galaxy to the hexagonal structure of a honeycomb, everything follows a precise geometric pattern. However, the mind of the average human being is a chaos. It is a vacant lot full of construction materials, mental energy thrown about at random. One day they think, "I'm going to be rich." The next day they think, "The economy is terrible, I'd better save." One day they want a sports car. The next day they feel guilty for being materialistic. They are confusing the contractor. They are delivering contradictory blueprints to the great contractor, God's subconscious, every day. On Monday, you deliver the blueprint for a palace. The invisible bricklayers start working. On Tuesday, you get scared and deliver the blueprint for a bunker. The bricklayers have to demolish what they did and start over. On Wednesday, you doubt yourself and deliver the blueprint for a shack. At the end of your life, you look back and see a pile of half-built rubble, and you say, "The law doesn't work." The law worked perfectly. It built exactly what you asked for in your confusion. The lack of a defined mental structure is the primary cause of failure, the technical specification of desire. If you are going to hire an engineer to build your house and you tell him, "I want a big and pretty house," the engineer cannot work. Big is subjective. Pretty is an opinion. The engineer needs measurements. He needs to know. How many square meters? How many rooms? What kind of foundations? Where do the power outlets go? The engineering of the invisible demands the same precision from you. If you want wealth, do not ask for money. Money is paper. Ask for a lifestyle. Ask for a net figure. Ask for a specific cash flow. Define the structure. If you want a car, do not visualize a car. Go to the dealership, physical or online. Look at the model, smell the leather, decide on the color, learn what engine it has. When you have those details, you are creating an etheric mold. The spirit is like water, it has no shape. It takes the shape of the vessel that contains it. Your mental blueprint is that vessel. If your blueprint is vague and has holes, the energy spills and dissipates. If your blueprint is solid, airtight, and detailed, the energy condenses and solidifies into matter. The rigidity of the blueprint, the flexibility of the method. Here is a critical distinction that confuses many students of metaphysics. In physical engineering, the architect also decides how it is built, foundations first, then columns. In the engineering of the invisible, you are the architect, but you are not the contractor. You design the what, the end result. The universe designs the how, the means. If you try to design the how, "I'm going to win this money through the lottery on Friday," or "I'm going to get this job specifically through my uncle," you are micromanaging the universe. You are limiting the supply lines. Your blueprint must be rigid in the end result. "I am the owner of this successful company," but totally flexible in the channels of manifestation. Perhaps you don't found the company. Perhaps you partner. Perhaps you inherit it. Perhaps you buy it. The bridge of incidents is the work of a superior engineering. The series of events that lead you to the goal is not your concern. Your job is to hold the image of the finished building, not to worry about where they will rent the cranes. Construction materials, attention and feeling. To build on the physical plane, you need brick and mortar. To build on the mental plane, you need attention and feeling. Attention is the laser beam that cuts and defines the shape. Where you put your attention, you put energy. Do not rob materials from your work. If you withdraw your attention from your dream to put it on negative news, you are stealing materials from your project to give them to the project of collective fear. Feeling is the cement. It is the glue. A mental image without feeling is like a brick without mortar. It will fall with the first wind. You have to feel the reality of your structure. Neville Goddard said, "Feeling is the secret," but he does not refer to hysterical emotions, momentary explosive joy. He refers to the feeling of naturalness. When you enter your house, the current physical one, you don't jump for joy, you simply enter. It is natural. It is yours. That is the feeling you must capture in your invisible engineering, the naturalness of possessing the desired good. The structure must feel so real, so solid in your mind, that it feels strange to open your eyes and see that it is not yet there physically. The blueprint of the house, let's apply this. Suppose you want to manifest your ideal home. The dreamer says, "I wish I had a mansion." The invisible engineer sits in silence, closes his eyes, and begins to work. Location visualizes the surroundings, trees, city, feels the climate. Facade. What color is it? Touches the exterior wall in his mind. Entrance pulls the key from his pocket, feels the weight, hears the click. Tour walks down the hall, feels the wood or marble under bare feet, smells the clean aroma. Possession sits on the sofa, says, "It feels so good to be home." Repeat this mental tour night after night. Do not change the design. Do not move the door every time. Stabilize it, make it solid. A moment comes when he knows that imaginary house better than his current physical home. At that moment, the blueprint has been sealed. The etheric structure is complete. Now, by the law of spiritual atmospheric pressure, the physical universe must fill that etheric vacuum with tangible matter. It is inevitable. The blueprint of the automobile and technology. The same applies to technology. We talk about cars and machines. A car is a complex structure of metal, electronics, rubber, and glass. If you desire a specific vehicle, you must apply reverse engineering. Do not obsess over how I will pay for it. That is the contractor's problem. Obsess over the user experience. The engineers of major brands, Ferrari, Tesla, spend millions designing the sound of the door closing, the feel of the steering wheel, the throttle response. You must replicate that experience in your mind. Get into the car in your imagination, start the engine, feel the vibration. Put your hands on the wheel, the hands of your mind. Drive. Feel the acceleration. Feel your body press against the seat. Smell the new car scent. Make it so vivid that, when you finish, your brain believes you just stepped out of the car. You are creating neural grooves. You are creating a magnetic mold. Controlled demolition, eliminating old structures. In engineering, before building a new skyscraper on occupied land, you often have to demolish the old, rotten building that was there. You cannot build the temple of wealth on top of the shack of poverty. The foundations will not hold. You have to demolish your old beliefs. If in your mental ground there are structures named, money is hard to get. Rich people are evil. I don't deserve good things. You have to set the mental dynamite and blow them to pieces. How is the demolition done? By stopping the inhabitancy of those structures. By stopping the giving of attention. By withdrawing your vital energy from those thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking, "I have no money," stop. Say, "That is an old structure I no longer inhabit." Move your attention immediately to your new blueprint. At first, you will feel like a mental homeless person in the space between the demolished old belief and the new one that hasn't manifested yet. Hold on. Keep building. Resistance of materials, mental discipline. Any engineer knows that materials have a limit of resistance. If you put too much weight on a weak column, it collapses. In invisible engineering, your columns are your capacity for concentration. If you cannot focus on your desire for more than 10 seconds without being distracted by your phone or doubts, your columns are made of paper. They won't hold the roof of a big dream. You have to reinforce the steel of your mind. This is called a mental diet, but here we treat it as structural integrity. Every time you doubt, you make a crack in the concrete of your new reality. A small doubt is okay. It can be patched. But chronic doubt and constant fear are structural earthquakes. Become a severe site inspector. Watch your thoughts. If you see a crack, a thought of fear, repair it immediately with an affirmation of faith and vision. Do not let the structure weaken. The hidden blueprints of humanity. Look at history. Everything we consider normal today was once an engineering impossibility. Flying was impossible. But the Wright brothers made a mental blueprint where flying was natural. Talking to someone across the world instantly was witchcraft. Someone designed the invisible telecommunications network in their mind before laying the first undersea cable. The internet, artificial intelligence, space travel. Everything arose from the engineering of the invisible. These creators were not lucky. They were stubborn. They were obsessive with their blueprints. They did not allow current reality to dictate their future reality. They understood that current reality is malleable, like clay. You have been created in the image of God to do the same on your scale. Your life is your engineering project. Your body is a structure you can redesign with health. Your economy is a building you can redesign with abundance. Your career is a highway you can trace wherever you want. But stop drawing scribbles on napkins and start drawing master blueprints. Stop saying, "I would like to," and start saying, "So it shall be." The Night Workshop. I will give you a practical engineering technique. The best time to work on your blueprints is just before sleep. In that state of drowsiness, theta state, the door between the conscious, the architect, and the subconscious, the builder, is wide open. Do not fall asleep thinking about problems. That is giving blueprints of disaster to the builder to work on all night. Fall asleep reviewing the blueprints of your success. Review the structure of your fulfilled desire. Walk through the house. Drive the car. Shake hands with your partners, closing the deal. Fall asleep inside the structure. Let your subconscious work on setting the cement while your body rests. The next morning, you will have moved forward in the invisible construction more than you imagine. Chapter 4. Faith as Anticipated Knowledge. There is a word in the human dictionary that has been more mistreated, misunderstood, and distorted than any other. That word is faith. To the modern, rational, and scientific mind, faith is synonymous with intellectual weakness. It is associated with superstition, with believing in fairy tales, with closing one's eyes to reality. It is seen as waiting for a magic father in the sky to fix our problems. To the dogmatic religious person, faith is often blind obedience, a believing without seeing, based on the fear of punishment. But in this audiobook, we are not talking about religion nor superstition. We are talking about the mechanics of creation. Therefore, we need to clean this word. We need to rescue it from the mud of ignorance and elevate it to its true place in the mental hierarchy. Faith, in its pure metaphysical sense, is not waiting for something to happen. Faith is knowing that something has already happened. Faith is not a sentimental desire. Faith is anticipated knowledge. It is the ability to see the end before the beginning. It is the logical and rational faculty of the fourth dimension. In this chapter, you are going to stop trying to have faith, and you are going to start exercising faith, like one exercises a law of physics. The master definition: substance and evidence. Let's go to the source. The author of the letter to the Hebrews in chapter 11 verse 1 gave us the most precise technical definition ever written about this power. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Let's analyze this carefully. Let's use the metaphysical microscope, going to the original Greek, because modern translations often dilute the power of the message. The Greek word used for certainty or substance is hypostasis. Hypo means under, and stasis means that which stands or support. It is the foundation. In ancient times, the word hypostasis was used in legal terms to refer to a title deed. Think about it. If you have the title deed to a house in your hand, do you need to be inside the house to know it is yours? No. You can be 1,000 miles away. You may not have seen the house in 10 years. But if you have the hypostasis, the legal paper in your hand, you have the absolute certainty that the house belongs to you. No one can take it from you. You have authority over it. Faith, then, is not a volatile feeling. Faith is the mental title deed of your desire. It is your cosmic legal document. When you have faith, you are holding the cosmic legal document that says, "This is mine," even though your physical eyes do not yet see it. The second key word is conviction. or evidence, proof, which in Greek is elenkos. Elenkos means legal proof, or evidence presented in a trial. The Bible does not say that faith is imagining things that do not exist. It says that faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the proof. If you feel within yourself the certainty that you are rich, even if your pocket is empty, that feeling is not an illusion. That feeling is the tangible evidence. It is evidence in the mental plane that wealth exists and is on its way. It is the shadow that the future casts upon the present. The acorn and the oak, X-ray vision. To understand faith as logical knowledge, let's look at nature. Imagine you are holding an acorn in your hand. If you ask a child or an uneducated person what that is, they will tell you, it's a small, hard nut. Their physical eyes only see the current shell. But if you give it to a botanist or a wise farmer, they look at the acorn and say, this is a forest. Are they hallucinating? No. They have anticipated knowledge. They know by biological law that within that small shell is encoded the complete genetic map of a giant oak, its deep roots, its massive trunk. The oak is already in the acorn. It is only a matter of time and nutrition. Faith is the ability to look at the acorn of your current desire, your business idea, your small project, your budding relationship, and see the giant oak it will become. The skeptic looks at your small garage business and mocks you. The skeptic says, you are a dreamer, you have no capital, this is nothing. He only sees the acorn. You, the metaphysician, look at your business and say, this is a multinational. You see the oak, and because you see the oak, you treat it like an oak. You water it, you care for it, you protect it. And because of your faith, your correct vision, the oak emerges. Faith does not create the oak from nothing. Faith recognizes the potential that was already latent and allows it to unfold. Without faith, you would throw the acorn in the trash, thinking it is worthless. Faith is the intelligence to keep your dreams. Faith versus hope, the vital difference. Here lies a trap in which millions of believers fall. They confuse faith with hope. They seem like sisters, but vibrationally they are opposites. Hope is a beggar. Hope lives in the future. It says, hopefully it happens someday. I hope God helps me. Maybe things will get better. Hope implies doubt. It implies that there is a possibility it might not happen. When you say, I hope to be rich, you are admitting, I am not rich, and I am afraid I will never be. Hope is passive and distressing. It is looking out the window, waiting for the rain to stop. Faith is different. Faith is a possessor. Faith lives in the present. It says, thank you because it is done. I know it is mine. It is inevitable. Faith does not doubt. Faith knows the law. When you have faith, you are not distressed. You are calm. Are you distressed about knowing if the sun will rise tomorrow? No. You have faith, knowledge in the rotation of the earth. You know it will rise. You don't hope it rises. You know it will. That deep calm, that absence of anxiety, is the clinical symptom of true faith. If you are visualizing your success but are biting your nails with anxiety, you do not have faith. You have hope mixed with fear. Faith is the state of mental Sabbath. It is rest. It is the feeling of relief you have when you finally find the keys you thought were lost. Ah, here they are. Relief is the highest vibration of manifestation because relief means the search is over. If you keep searching, asking or begging, it is because you do not have faith that you already have it. The sixth sense, touching the invisible. Napoleon Hill, in his study of the richest men in the world, called faith the seventh sense, or sixth, depending on the classification. Your five physical senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, are your antennas for three-dimensional reality. They tell you what is. Faith is your antenna for four-dimensional reality. It informs you about what is about to be. It is a real sense. It can be trained. Imagine entering a totally dark room. You can see nothing. But as you enter, you stumble upon something solid and recognize by touch that it is a table. Even though your eyes don't see it, you know there is a table. You walk around it so as not to hit yourself. If someone enters and says, "You're crazy," there's nothing there. It's dark. You smile. Your tactile knowledge is superior to their blindness. Faith works the same way. In the darkness of your circumstances, when there is no money, no health, no love, your mind's eye touches the reality of your fulfilled desire. You feel its solidity. You know it is there. Therefore, you walk around that reality. You act accordingly. You make plans for the money you know is coming. You prepare the room for the baby you know you are going to conceive. You buy the clothes for the lean body you know you are going to have. It is not madness. It is trusting your higher sense more than the temporary darkness. The scientist of the mind. We must banish the idea that faith is anti-scientific. Science is based on the premise that we live in an orderly universe governed by laws. If you drop an apple, it falls. Law of gravity. You don't have to pray for it to fall. You trust the law. Metaphysics postulates that there is a law of mental creation. What you hold in your mind with feeling and conviction materializes. Having faith is simply trusting that law with the same security with which a chemist trusts his formulas. When you get on a plane, you have faith in aerodynamics. You don't see the air holding the plane, but you know the law works. When you use your phone, you have faith in the invisible electromagnetic waves that carry your voice. Why is it so hard for you to have faith in your own mental waves? Why do you doubt that your thought has causal power? It is intellectual hypocrisy to trust the invisible laws of physics and doubt the invisible laws of the spirit. The true metaphysician is a spiritual scientist. He says, "I have planted the seed, I have prepared the soil, and now I know that the law of gestation will bring the fruit." It is mathematical. Fear. Faith in reverse. Here is a revelation that can change your life today. Many people say, "I don't have faith. I am very skeptical." That is a lie. All human beings have an immense and powerful faith. Faith is a natural function of the mind, like breathing is a function of the lungs. The problem is that most use that faith in reverse. What is fear? Fear is faith that something bad is going to happen. Think about it. When you worry about the future, you are visualizing a misfortune that does not exist. You are feeling it as real, and you are convinced it will occur. That is pure faith. You are using your mind's eye, the substance and the evidence to create a disaster. The hypochondriac has so much faith in disease that he manages to create real physical symptoms without having any virus. It is a miracle of negative faith. He who fears poverty attracts it. You don't need to get faith. You already have it. You have too much faith. What you need is to change the polarity of your faith. Stop having faith in your obstacles and start having faith in your possibilities. Stop having faith in the crisis and start having faith in your capacity to prosper. The energy is the same. The mechanism is the same. Only the object of your attention changes. It's like a weapon. You can point it at your foot, fear, or you can point it at the target, success. The weapon is not bad. It is your aim that fails. The test of faith, action. How do you know if you really have faith or if you are just deceiving yourself? There is an infallible test, a test that separates the children from the adults in metaphysics. The test is your behavior. True faith always, invariably, leads to action. If you believe you are going to receive important guests at your house tonight, what do? You clean the house, you prepare dinner, you dress well, you set the table. Your belief forces you to prepare. If you say, "I believe I'm going to be rich," but you spend the day sleeping, you don't believe it. If you don't study, don't invest, and don't improve your skills, then you don't believe you're going to be rich. Deep down, you believe you will remain poor, and that is why your behavior aligns with poverty. You are acting out your true belief. Neville Goddard told the story of a woman who wanted to go to New York but had no money. He told her, "If you really believed you were going, what would you do?" She said, "I would pack my bags." Neville replied, "Then go home and pack your bags." Packing when you have no ticket is a radical act of faith. It is telling the universe, "I am ready, do your part." And the story goes that shortly after packing her bags, she received the money unexpectedly. Faith sets you in motion. If you have faith in your business, you make that difficult call. Paralysis is the evidence of the lack of faith, the persistence of the knower. Finally, faith as anticipated knowledge gives you the gift of persistence. If you know that at the end of the path there is a chest of gold, you don't care if the path has rocks, if it rains, or if you get tired. You keep walking. Why would you give up if you know the gold is there? Only the one who doubts gives up. The one who thinks, "Maybe there's nothing at the end, I'm wasting my time." Doubt drains energy. Certainty recharges it. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before lighting the bulb. A journalist asked, "How did it feel to fail 10,000 times?" Edison replied, "I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that don't work. I knew the light was there." Edison had anticipated knowledge. His faith was not a bet, it was a vision. He saw the light on in his mind before he saw it in the lab, and that vision dragged him through 10,000 failures to success. You must have that same divine stubbornness. When the world says no, you smile and say, "Not yet." When the bank says credit denied, you say, "The money will come from somewhere else." When the door closes, you look for the window, because you know. And he who knows is unstoppable. Your title deed. To conclude this chapter, I want you to retake control of your mind. The next time doubt assaults you, pull out your title deed, your faith. Tell your fears, "I have the evidence. I have it here, in my imagination and in my heart. This reality is mine by right of consciousness." Do not negotiate with current reality. Impose your higher reality upon it. You are a being designed to operate with certainty. Uncertainty is a disease of the soul caused by disconnection from your own divinity. Connect again. Look at the acorn and see the forest. Look at your life and see the glory. Because if you can see it, and you can hold it as unshakable knowledge, there is no power in heaven or on earth that can prevent it from happening. Chapter 5. The Great Lie of Passivity, Faith Without Works. Imagine a farmer sitting on his porch. He has the best land in the valley. He has the best climate. He has a barn full of the most genetically perfect seeds. This farmer knows the law of attraction. He has read every book on metaphysics. So he decides to close his eyes and visualize. He spends the entire day imagining a golden wheat harvest. He feels the breeze moving the stalks. He smells the freshly baked bread. He gives thanks for the abundance that is already his. But he never gets up from his chair. He never plows the land. He never plants a single seed. He never waters. Autumn arrives. His neighbors who worked from sunrise to sunset harvest tons of food. The metaphysical farmer goes out to his field and finds it full of weeds and dry earth. He raises his fist to the sky and screams, "The law doesn't work. God has failed me. I had faith and received nothing." Did the law fail? No. The law worked with mathematical precision. The earth gave him back exactly what he gave it, nothing. This farmer represents millions of people in the modern world who have fallen victim to the great lie of passivity. This lie is a virus in the spiritual community. It is the childish and toxic belief that manifestation is a substitute for action. It is the idea that God, or the universe, is a cosmic butler who will do your dirty work while you sit and meditate on the sofa. In this chapter, we are going to break that spell and face the most uncomfortable truth. The universe does not do things for you. It does them through you. If your faith has no hands and feet, it is a ghost, and ghosts cannot move bricks in the physical world. The death sentence, James 2:26. Let's return to our instruction manual. The Apostle James wrote a phrase of deep resonance. He wrote, "For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." Analyze the analogy. Your body is the physical vehicle, action. Your spirit is the vital energy, faith, vision. A body without spirit is a corpse. It does not move, it rots. This is action without purpose. But a spirit without a body is a ghost. It has no way to interact with matter. It cannot give a hug, sign a contract, or build a house. Faith without works is a disembodied spirit. It is a potentiality that never lands. To say you have great faith, but do nothing to back it up, is a contradiction. True faith is kinetic energy. If it is real, it forces you to move. If you do not move, it is because deep down you do not believe. If you believe there is a bomb in your house, you run. If you believe there is treasure in your garden, you dig. If you don't dig, you are lying. Passivity is the proof of unbelief. The myth of no effort. In the New Age, the concept of flow and no effort has become popular. We are told, if you have to struggle, it's not for you. This is a half-truth, and half-truths are the most dangerous lies. Action should not be forced from anxiety, but it still requires energy, sweat, and discipline. Look at nature. Does nature exert effort? An oak tree seems still, but its roots are piercing rock with immense hydraulic pressure to find water. Its leaves are frantically performing photosynthesis. A lion does not just visualize the gazelle, he runs with every fiber of his muscles to catch it. Life is movement. The concept of sitting and waiting does not exist in the cosmos. Planets rotate at dizzying speeds. Electrons vibrate. Inaction is the death of the system. When you decide not to act under the excuse of being spiritual, you are blocking the channel. You are violating the law of movement. God wants to deliver success to you, but he needs a vehicle to deliver it. That vehicle is your work, your study, and your dedication. If you give him no vehicle, the energy stagnates and rots inside you, turning into frustration and envy toward those who actually take action. God has no hands but yours. There is an old story about a statue of Christ in a German cathedral that was bombed during World War II. The statue remained intact except for the hands, which were blown off. After the war, the people debated hiring a sculptor to make new hands. Finally, they decided to leave it handless and placed a plaque at the base that read, "I have no other hands but yours." This is the supreme metaphysical truth. In this three-dimensional plane, you are the body of God. You are the tool of the infinite intelligence. If you want to build a house, God is not going to levitate the bricks. God will give you the idea, the physical strength, the intelligence to design, and the coincidence to find the cheap land. But you have to mix the cement. You have to lay the brick. Creation is a partnership. The universe provides 50%, the invisible part, the opportunities, the energy. You provide the other 50%, the visible part, the action, the preparation. If you do not provide your 50%, the result is zero. 58% times zero, $0. Many people are waiting for God to do his part and their part too. They pray, "God, please make me lose weight," while they keep eating cake and skipping the gym. They are asking for a miracle that violates the laws of physics. God says, "I give you the energy to go to the gym, but you have to lift the weight." The miracle is the strength to act, not the elimination of the need. Inspired action versus forced action. Now, not all action is equal. This is where we must sharpen the mind's eye. There is forced action and inspired action. Forced action is born of fear and doubt. It is when you act because you feel, If I don't do it, nobody will. You feel alone pushing a rock uphill. Rock. You exhaust yourself. You stress out. You hit closed doors. This action is of low vibration. It is the action of the one who has desperation, not faith. Inspired action is born of vision and faith. First, you visualize. You feel the reality of your success. By doing so, you enter a state of enthusiasm. Suddenly you have an idea. I should call that person. I should write this book. You feel an impulse to move. When you act from there, it doesn't feel like heavy work. It feels like play. It feels like flow. Doors open. Coincidences occur. You work longer hours, but you don't get as tired. You are being propelled by a current of divine energy at your back. The key is to act from inspiration. But beware, inspiration finds you working. Picasso said, "Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working." If you stay in bed waiting for the perfect inspiration, it will never come. Start moving. The Bridge of Incidents. Neville Goddard spoke of the Bridge of Incidents. He said that once you have planted the seed in the imagination, you will be compelled to cross a bridge of events that lead to the goal. That bridge is made of actions. You will have to make decisions and face challenges. Perhaps you lose your current job. Don't panic. That layoff may be the universe pushing you out of your comfort zone to start the business you visualized. If you stay crying over the lost job, you miss the bridge. If you get up and look for the next opportunity, you cross the bridge. The universe is dynamic. It is going to move you. Sometimes the push is gentle, sometimes it is hard. But it always pushes you toward action. Your job is to be alert and move your feet when you see the path. The Bible says that when Israel had to cross the Jordan, the waters did not part beforehand. God told them, "Let the priests dip their feet in the water." Only when their feet touched the water did the river open. If they had stayed on the shore waiting for the river to open safely, they would still be there today. You have to get your feet wet. You have to step into the void for the ground to appear. Training as an act of faith. Let's return to the topic of intellectual and technical preparation. Studying is a supreme form of action. If you say, "I am a millionaire" in your mind, but know nothing about investing or business, you are a danger to yourself. If you get 1,000,000 tomorrow, you will lose it in a month. The universe, in its mercy, often delays your success because it knows it would crush you. If you truly have faith in your future greatness, you prepare today. The medical student studies 10 years before operating. He has faith he will be a surgeon, and that is why he studies. Without study, it's a delusion. Do you want to be rich? Study money, read the books, go to the seminars, learn to sell. Do not study to see if it works. Study because you know you are going to need those tools. When you prepare, you send a potent signal to your subconscious. I am sharpening the axe because I know I will cut the tree. Mental laziness is the enemy of the mind's eye. You cannot build an empire with a lazy mind. Knowledge is the material with which faith builds. The lottery syndrome. The world is full of people with lottery syndrome. They want the result without the process. They want the fitness without the pain. They want the money without the risk of entrepreneurship. Cheap metaphysics has sold them the lie. Just visualize and attract. That is a lie. You can attract the opportunity, but you cannot attract the final result by skipping the process. The process is what transforms you. If you were given the gold medal without running the race, the medal would be worthless. You would still be the same weak person. Manifestation is about becoming the person capable of creating those things. The process of action and overcoming obstacles is the fire that forges your character. The anatomy of procrastination. Why do we not act if we know we must? Because of fear. Procrastination is not laziness, it is paralyzing fear. Fear of failing, fear of not being enough. We prefer not to act to keep the illusion of, I could do it if I wanted to. Passivity is a defense mechanism. If I don't try, I can't fail. But in the realm of the mind's eye, not trying is the ultimate failure. The cemetery is full of could-have-beens. I would 1,000 times rather be the man who tried to build a tower and failed than the man who stared at bricks his whole life, wondering what would have happened. Active failure is honorable. It is learning. Passivity is sterile. To overcome passivity, do not think of the whole mountain. Think of the next step. Faith doesn't need to see the whole staircase. It only needs to see the first step. Take the step. Make the call. Action cures fear. Inaction feeds it. The sacred balance, being and doing. The secret of the great masters is the balance between being and doing. Being mind's eye. You hold the vision, you live in the state of already fulfilled, you feel peace and gratitude. Doing works. You work with excellence, you move fast, you educate yourself. When you join being with doing, you become unstoppable. It is like an archer. Being is the tension of the bow, the aim, the calm eye on the target. Doing is releasing the arrow. If you only aim, but never release, nothing happens. If you release arrows wildly without aiming, you miss. Aim and fire. Repeat. Aim. Your declaration of war against laziness. Today you declare war on your own passivity. Today you accept that no one is coming to save me. No guru, no politician, no stroke of luck is going to build the life you saw in your mind. Only your hands, guided by divine intelligence, can do it. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a myth created by your fear to keep you still. Act with what you have, where you are. Napoleon Hill said, "Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have. Better tools will be found as you go along." If your dream is to write, write today. If your dream is to sell, sell today. Even if you are rejected. The universe rewards speed and audacity. The universe loves action. When you move, the universe understands you are serious. And then it starts opening doors that looked like walls. Get off the metaphysical sofa. Your faith is the fuel, but you are the engine. Start the engine. Burn rubber. Make noise in the physical world. Prove that you believe in your vision enough to sweat for it. Chapter 6. The Cemetery of Dreams. The Unlived Life. There is a place on the planet that is the richest of all. It is not the diamond mines of South Africa. It is not the oil reserves of Saudi Arabia. It is not the fortified vaults of Swiss banks or the servers of Silicon Valley. The richest place in the world is the cemetery. Walk with me with your mind's eye through an ancient cemetery. Look at the tombstones, read the names, observe the dates. Beneath that cold earth there are not only bones and dust. Buried there are the books that were never written. There lie the songs that were never sung. There are the companies that would have changed the world but were never founded. There are the inventions never patented. There are the cures for diseases that were never discovered. There are the loves that were never confessed. That ground is saturated with an infinite potential that never saw the light. It is the reservoir of creative energy that was suffocated by fear, by doubt, and above all by passivity. These people had the divine DNA. They had the mind's eye. They had the capacity to dream, but they lacked the courage to cross the fire bridge of action. They chose security. They chose what people might say. They chose to wait for the perfect moment. And time, the only resource that cannot be renewed, ran out for them. Welcome to Chapter 6, The Cemetery of Dreams. This is not a comfortable chapter. I'm not here to pat you on the back. I'm here to perform a spiritual autopsy on you before it is too late. I want you to feel the cold of that cemetery. I want you to be terrified of adding your own tombstone to that collection, because the fear of dying with the music still inside you must be from today on your greatest motivation. The Anatomy of Regret. A palliative care nurse named Bronnie Ware spent years accompanying patients in their final weeks of life. She spoke with them in that moment of brutal honesty that arrives when death sits at the foot of the bed. when social masks fall and the ego no longer has anything to defend. She asked them, "What do you regret?" She compiled the answers in a famous book. Do you know what the number one regret was? The most common, repeated over and over by men and women of all races and social statuses. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Read it again. They did not regret having failed. They did not say, I wish I hadn't invested in that business that went bankrupt, or I wish I hadn't proposed to that woman who rejected me. They regretted not trying. They regretted the betrayal of their own vision. They regretted ignoring God's images. They regretted ignoring what God placed in their mind's eye just to please their parents, their partners, or society. The pain of failure weighs grams. The pain of regret weighs tons. Failure is a wound that heals and turns into wisdom. Regret is a ghost that never lets you sleep. When you are in the cemetery of dreams, you realize that the security for which you sacrificed your life was an illusion. You sought a secure job, a predictable life, to avoid risk. But in the end, you died just the same. The biological result was the same. The only difference is the content of your soul. Do you reach the end empty, having delivered everything you had, spent, used, squeezed, and happy? Or do you arrive full of could-haves, loaded with intact luggage that is no longer good for anything? The sin of omission. In theology and metaphysics, we speak of two types of errors: sins of commission, doing something wrong, and sins of omission, not doing something good. Society and religion have obsessed us with sins of commission. Do not steal, do not kill, do not lie. But the sin that truly destroys the human spirit is omission. It is knowing you have a talent and not using it. It is knowing you have a word of encouragement and keeping silent. It is knowing you have a business idea and letting it die in a drawer. Metaphysically, when you repress your creative impulse, you are violent. You are committing an act of violence against yourself. Creative energy is divine flow. It is a mighty river. If you build a dam of fear and do not let the river run, the water does not disappear. It stagnates. It rots. It becomes toxic. Depression, chronic anxiety, bitterness, envy. These are often simply unexpressed creativity. They are the result of an unlived life that has fermented within the soul. You look at someone who had the courage to do what you didn't do, and you hate them. You criticize them. That criticism is your own frustrated dream screaming in pain. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you are laying another brick in your tomb. Every time you say, I'm not ready, you are throwing dirt on your own coffin. The cemetery does not wait for your heart to stop beating. There are millions of people who walk the street, go to work, and watch television, but who actually died at age 25, even if they aren't buried until 75. They are functional zombies. They have turned off their mind's eye. They have accepted the script of mediocrity. They have sold their divine birthright for a bowl of stability lentils. Do not be one of them. Wake up, the ghost of who you could have been. I propose a terrifying but necessary visualization exercise. I want you to use your four-dimensional vision right now. Imagine it is the last day of your life. You are on your deathbed. Your breathing is difficult. The lights are fading. Suddenly, in the room, a figure appears. It is a person who looks like you but is different. They are taller. They have a gaze of fire and peace at the same time. They radiate health, power, wisdom, and love. That figure approaches your bed and says, I am the person you could have become. I am the potential that God put in you. I am the writer of the books you didn't write. I am the leader of the company you didn't found. I am the traveler of the worlds you didn't visit. I am the lover you didn't dare to be. I existed in your mind's eye as a real possibility. I whispered to you 1,000 times, but you ignored me. You preferred fear. You preferred comfort. Now I must die with you. I will never exist in the world. We are a waste. Can you endure that encounter? Can you endure looking into the eyes of your unrealized potential and seeing its disappointment? That is the true hell. Hell is not a place of fire and demons. Hell is meeting the version of yourself you could have been and realizing it is too late. But I have good news for you. Glorious news. You are not dead yet. You are still breathing. Your heart still beats. That final encounter hasn't happened yet. You still have time to merge with that figure. You still have time to become him or her. But time is not infinite. The clock is ticking. Tick, tock. Every second you spend on Instagram watching the lives of others is a second you steal from your own masterpiece. Every day in a job you hate is a gift to death. The myth of risk and security. Why don't we act? Because we are afraid of risk. We believe staying still is safe and moving is dangerous. What if I invest and lose the money? What if I write the book and nobody reads it? Let me tell you something about security. It does not exist. It is a superstition. Life is, by definition, a terminal process. No one gets out of here alive. Security is an illusion sold to you so you will be a docile gear in the system. Do you think your job is secure? An economic crisis or an AI can eliminate it tomorrow. Do you think your health is secure? Living with fear of loss is ridiculous because in the end you are going to lose everything anyway, your body, your goods, your status. The only thing you will take with you is what you are. Therefore, the real risk is not failure. The real risk is reaching the end and realizing you wasted your greatness. Helen Keller said it better than anyone. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Failing is not the opposite of success. Failing is part of success. If you launch your business and go bankrupt, you haven't lost, you've gained data. You have gained experience. You have gained emotional muscle. You are wiser. Your mind's eye has been calibrated better. He who fails is alive. He who tries and falls is moving forward. He who stays on the shore looking at the sea without getting wet is the one who is already dead. The lie of tomorrow. The guardian of the cemetery of dreams has a name. It is called tomorrow. It is the most seductive and destructive word in the human vocabulary. Tomorrow I'll start the diet. Tomorrow I'll write the business plan. Tomorrow I'll tell her I love her. Tomorrow is the refuge of cowards. The metaphysical tomorrow does not exist. There is only the eternal now. If you are not it now, if you do not do it now, you will never be it. Because when that supposed tomorrow arrives, it will be another today, and your habit of procrastinating will remain intact. People think they will have more time, but ask any elderly person. They will tell you that life is a blink. It seems like only yesterday I was 20, they say. Life passes at the speed of light. Waiting for perfect conditions is suicide. There will never be perfect conditions. If you want to build, you have to build in the rain. You have to build with fear. You have to build with doubts. Imperfect action today is infinitely superior to perfect action tomorrow. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. The Stoics had a daily practice called memento mori. They kept a skull on their desk, not out of morbidity, but for clarity. Remembering that you are going to die is the best tool to eliminate noise. When you remember your time is limited, nonsense stops mattering. What they will say stops mattering. Do you care about the opinion of people who are also going to die and be forgotten? Fear of ridicule disappears. Shame dissolves. Only the essential remains: your truth, your mission, your love. Steve Jobs asked himself every morning, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? If the answer was no for too many days, he knew he had to change something. That is the compass. Use death as your advisor. When you are afraid to make that sales call, ask your death, will this fear matter in 100 years? Death will tell you, no, make the call. Don't take your projects to the grave. Transmute pain into fuel. Perhaps you are listening to this and you feel a knot in your stomach. Perhaps you are already 40, 50, or 60 years old and you feel you have wasted a lot of time. You feel the pain of missed opportunities. Good. Feel that pain. Do not anesthetize it. Do not distract yourself. Let it hurt. Because that pain is nuclear fuel if you know how to use it. The pain of past regret can become the fury of present action. Tell yourself, not one more day. The sleepwalking is over. The living small is over. Use your frustration as a jet engine. Colonel Sanders founded KFC at 65, broke. Grandma Moses started painting at 78. History is full of people who escaped the cemetery of dreams at the last minute. It is never too late to be who you could have been. But you have to start today, not tomorrow. Today. Step out of the tomb. This chapter is your resurrection call. Lazarus, come forth. Step out of the tomb of your comfort zone. Step out of the coffin of your excuses. Break the chains of others' opinions. You have a mind's eye capable of seeing empires. You have hands capable of building them. Are you going to let all that miracle rot underground? No, honor the Creator who made you. God did not create you to be mediocre. God did not create you to be a frightened sheep. He created you to be a lion. He created you to leave a scar on the universe, so that when you leave this world, the world cries because a giant is gone. Not that the world remains the same because you were never really here. Your life does not belong only to you. Your life belongs to all those whom your dream could help. If you have the cure for a disease and don't release it, you are responsible. If you have a business that could employ hundreds of families and you don't found it out of laziness, you are responsible for that lack. Your success is a moral duty. Your self-actualization is your gift to the world. So, dry your tears of regret. Forgive yourself for the lost years. The past is dead. But the future, the future is still virgin. The future is wet clay in your hands. Your mind's eye can see a new ending to your story, a glorious ending, an epic ending. But you have to grab the pen and start writing with blood, sweat, and faith. Leave the cemetery. Walk toward life. The struggle starts now, and this time you are going to win. Chapter 7. The Price of Greatness, Training and Study. Imagine you win the lottery tomorrow. The universe, in an act of cosmic generosity, dumps $100 million into your lap. Your mind's eye desired it, and there it is. But what happens if your financial mind is a container the size of a coffee cup? You have an ocean of energy trying to enter a cup. The result is inevitable: overflow and destruction. The money will spill, it will be lost, and in the process, the pressure will break the cup. This is the metaphysical and psychological reason why 70% of lottery winners end up bankrupt, or worse, in misery and addiction, in less than 5 years. They had the manifestation, but they did not have the capacity. They had not paid the price of greatness. They had not expanded their mental container through study, experience, and maturity. Welcome to Chapter 7, The Price of Greatness. Until now we have talked about vision, faith, and action. But action without knowledge is dangerous. A motivated fool is a danger to society. An ignorant dreamer is a potential tragedy. If you accept that you were created in the image of God to be an architect of reality, then you must accept the responsibility of studying architecture. God does not bless mediocrity. God does not bless incompetence. The universe is a vibratory meritocracy. It only delivers to you that which you are capable of sustaining. The law of the vessel. Visualize this. Heaven is always raining abundance. It is a constant rain of opportunities, ideas, and resources. God does not discriminate. It rains on the just and the unjust. But down here on earth, people are holding up containers to catch that rain. Some have a thimble, others have a bucket. Others have built gigantic reservoirs. When it rains, the one with the thimble fills up fast and says, "God is stingy, I only have a drop." The one with the reservoir collects millions of gallons and says, "God is infinite." The rain is the same. The difference is the vessel. What is your vessel? Your vessel is your mental context. It is formed by your education, your technical skills, your emotional intelligence, and your understanding of how the world works. Study, training, and reading are not school chores. They are the process of enlarging your vessel. Every book you read widens the rim. Every skill you master, sales, public speaking, programming, leadership, deepens the bottom. If you want to be a millionaire but have the financial knowledge of an average employee, it is metaphysically impossible to retain wealth. It will leave you. Even if it reaches you by luck, it will go, because your vibratory vessel cannot contain that density of energy. Ignorance is the real sin. In the book of the prophet Hosea, a terrible sentence reads, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Hosea 4:6. Notice it does not say they were destroyed because the devil attacked them or because they had bad luck. They were destroyed by ignorance. In the world of business and life, what you don't know will hurt you. If you don't know how taxes work, you will lose money. If you don't know how human psychology works, you won't be able to lead or sell, and you will be left alone. If you don't know how your body works, you will get sick. Modern spirituality sometimes falls into the error of despising the intellect. Follow your heart, not your mind, they say. That is dangerous advice if your mind is empty. The heart is the compass, direction, but the mind is the map and the engine, execution. You need intellect. You need sharpness. The mind's eye sees the finished building, but it is your engineering knowledge that calculates the loads so the building doesn't collapse and kill people. The myth of natural talent. You look at the greats, Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Mozart, and you say they were born with a gift. It is an excuse to avoid effort. Yes, they brought a seed, divine DNA. But that seed was watered with oceans of sweat and study. Mozart studied music from age 3. Kobe Bryant trained at 4 in the morning while everyone else slept. Elon Musk, before founding SpaceX, knew nothing about rockets. What did he do? He didn't sit down to manifest a rocket. He locked himself away to read Soviet aerospace engineering books and advanced physics until he knew more than his employees. Imminent success belongs to the obsessives of learning. If you want to be rich, you have to study to be rich with the same seriousness that a doctor studies to be a surgeon. Would you let yourself be operated on by someone who says, "I didn't go to medical school, but I have a lot of faith"? "I visualize the operation going well and I'm a very good person"? No, you would run away. You demand competence. You demand they spend years studying anatomy. So why do you think the universe will hand you the management of great fortunes or leadership if you are an amateur? The market pays for rarity and value. If your skills are common, your reward will be common, poverty. If your skills are extraordinary, your reward will be extraordinary. Sharpening the axe. Abraham Lincoln once said, "If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 6 sharpening my axe." Most people throw themselves into hitting the tree with a dull axe, massive action without preparation. They hit and hit. They sweat. Their hands bleed. The tree is barely marked. Then they look at the neighbor who spent hours sitting sharpening the blade in silence, study, training. The neighbor stands up, gives 3 precise blows, and the tree falls. "How lucky he was," cry the ignorant. It wasn't luck. It was the edge. Knowledge is the edge. It allows you to achieve in 1 hour what takes an ignorant person 100 hours. It allows you to see shortcuts. It allows you to avoid costly mistakes. How much time do you spend sharpening your axe? How many books did you read this month about your industry? If the answer is "I don't have time," then you are condemned to hit the tree with the handle of the axe for the rest of your life. Poverty is to a large extent the refusal to learn. Specialized knowledge, Hill's key. Napoleon Hill was very clear on this. General culture does not make money. Knowing a little bit of everything is good for playing Trivial Pursuit or having cocktail talk, but it's no good for accumulating wealth. To activate the metaphysics of success, you need specialized knowledge. You must become the best in a niche. You must know more than anyone else about your specific topic. If you are a salesman, you must be the most lethal sales psychologist in your sector. If you are a baker, you must know more about sourdough fermentation than any other human being in your city. Specialization creates a magnetic field. When you are an authority, you don't look for clients, clients look for you. Authority is attractive. People want to be led by someone who knows. If you waver, if you doubt, people smell your insecurity and go with the competition. Self-faith, Chapter 4, is nourished by competence. It is very hard to have faith if deep down you know you are an imposter who hasn't studied. But when you know that you walk with a firm step. That vibration is worth millions. The cost of tuition. There are two ways to learn in this life. By mentors and books, wisdom. You learn from the mistakes of others. It is cheap and fast. A $20 book can save you a 10-year bankruptcy. By own experience, blows. You learn by making the mistake yourself. It is the school of life. It is the most expensive tuition that exists. It charges you in lost years, lost money, and lost health. The fool says, I learn in the streets. The wise says, I learn from those who already walked the streets. If you decide not to train, the universe will charge you the lesson anyway through failure. When you invest in a course, a book, or an advisor, you are buying time, you are buying speed. You are collapsing time, you are absorbing the distillation of another's life. Never say it's too expensive referring to education. Try ignorance. It will cost you a fortune in lost opportunities. The humility of the eternal student. To fill your vessel, you must first admit that it is not full. The number one enemy of learning is the ego. It is thinking, I already know it all. The moment you say, I know it, your brain closes. Your vessel is sealed. Nothing new can enter. And since the universe is dynamic and in constant expansion, if you stop learning, you automatically start going backward. You become obsolete. The mind's eye must always be curious. Look at children. They learn at a dizzying speed because they are not ashamed to ask why. You must reclaim that voracious curiosity. You must be willing to be the fool in the room. If you are the smartest person in your group, you are in the wrong group. Look for a room where you feel ignorant, because that is where you will grow by osmosis. Training as a spiritual ritual. I want you to reframe the act of studying. Do not see it as a boring obligation. See it as an act of worship. See it as a ritual to honor the divine DNA in you. When you study, you are polishing the diamond that God gave you. You are honoring the talents. When you sit down to read, you are saying, God, I am preparing the ground for the harvest I asked you for. I am making myself worthy of your blessing. Imagine you are a warrior preparing for the battle of his life. How would you treat your sword? Would you let it rust? Or would you sharpen it every night with oil and stone until it could cut a hair in the air? Your mind is your sword. Study is the whetstone. Do not go out to the battlefield of the market with a notched sword. It is a lack of respect for your own divinity and your mission. Information versus transformation. A vital warning. We live in the information age, but we suffer from a hunger for wisdom. It is not about accumulating data like an encyclopedia. It is about applied knowledge. Reading 50 books and applying nothing is mental obesity. You become heavy and slow. The golden rule is, for every hour of study, 1 hour of implementation. Learn something and use it today. This converts information, external data, into knowledge, internal experience. Only integrated knowledge becomes power. Don't just collect information, be transformed by it. The secret of added value. Why is money paid in this world? Money is a certificate of appreciation that society gives you in exchange for the value you provide. If you provide little value, basic physical work, you receive little money. If you provide much value, you receive much money. The only genuine and sustainable way to earn more money is to become more valuable. And you become more valuable through training. You cannot give what you do not have. If you want to give million-dollar solutions, you have to have a million-dollar mind. Jim Rohn used to say, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work on your job, you make a living. If you work on yourself, you make a fortune." Your personal study plan. At the end of this chapter, I want you to design your own curriculum. Forget the traditional university, unless it is your specific path. I am talking about the University of Life and Success. Identify the 3 key skills that separate the mediocre from the masters in your field. Is it public speaking? Marketing? Investing? Dedicate the next 12 months to obsessing over those 3 skills. Buy the best books, pay for the courses, find the mentors, turn off Netflix, turn off the news. That leisure time is what separates you from your greatness. While others have fun, you build yourself. While others spend, you invest in your mind. This is the price of greatness. Are you willing to pay it? Chapter 8. The Collapse of Time, the I Am Identity. You look at your watch. You look at the calendar. You watch the days, weeks, and years go by, and you tell yourself, "It will take me 10 years to be a millionaire," or "It will take me 5 years to heal," or "Someday, when the conditions are right, I will be happy." You live trapped in the tyranny of linear time. You believe that between you, state A, and your dream, state B, there is a miles-long straight line that you must walk step by step, suffering and waiting. But what if I told you that distance is not real? What if I told you that time is not a measure of the movement of a clock's hands, but a measure of distance between 2 states of consciousness? Welcome to Chapter 8, The Collapse of Time. This is where metaphysics stops being an intellectual game and becomes practical magic. We are going to talk about the secret that ancient masters encoded in the name of God. We will talk about why wanting is the greatest barrier to having. The goal of this chapter is to destroy your current identity, the victim, the aspirant, the poor, and replace it with your divine identity. Because, and listen closely to this, the universe does not give you what you want. The universe gives you what you are. The name of God and the time code. Let's go back to the primary source, to Exodus. Moses, trembling before the burning bush, asks the divinity, "Who are you? What do I tell the Israelites? What is your name?" God's answer is the foundation of all creation. I am that I am. He did not say I was who I was, past. He did not say I will be who I will be, future. He said I am, eternal, present. God only knows one time, the now. For the infinite intelligence, everything that has occurred and everything that will occur exists simultaneously in a point of singularity. You, created in the image and likeness of God, possess the same creative power in your own consciousness. Your divine name is also I am. Every time you say I am, you are emitting an absolute command of creation. You are defining your reality. But how do you use this power? Most people use it to enslave themselves. They say, I am poor, I am sickly, I am unlucky, I am shy. They are using the name of God to sign their own sentence of mediocrity, and worst of all, when they try to change, they use the future tense. They say, I want to be rich, I am going to be successful. By saying I am going to be, you are metaphysically declaring, right now I am not. You are affirming lack. And since the universe responds to your present identity, if your identity is I am not, The universe will keep you in perpetual waiting. Tomorrow never arrives because whenever you wake up, it is today. The collapse of time, the physics of identity. Collapsing time does not mean traveling in a machine like in a science fiction movie. Collapsing time means assuming the final state now. If you wish to be a successful entrepreneur, you cannot wait to have the money in the bank to feel successful. That is thinking like a 3D human. You must feel successful now, with a zero balance. You must walk, talk, breathe, and think as if the company were already a global reality. In the moment you change your identity from aspirant to possessor, you collapse time. Vibrationally, you have already arrived. You have closed the gap. The distance between you and your dream is not measured in years, it is measured in frequency. The frequency of poverty is, let's say, 100 hertz. The frequency of wealth is 500 hertz. You don't need time to pass from 100 to 500. You only need to change the dial. You can do it in a second. In the instant you tune into 500 hertz, the feeling of being rich, you have collapsed time. Now, physical reality, which is denser and slower, will begin to frantically reorganize itself to reflect your new frequency. Thinking from the end versus thinking of the end. Neville Goddard made a surgical distinction that you must master, the difference between thinking of the end and thinking from the end. Thinking of the end is what the passive dreamer does. He sees his dream as something separate from him. He sees the house of his dreams way over there. He looks at it with desire, with nostalgia, with hope. This creates separation. This creates distance. I am here, without a house, and the house is there. This way of thinking perpetuates the waiting. Thinking from the end is what the magician does. He places himself mentally inside the house. He looks at the world from the windows of that house. If you think from wealth, you no longer desire to be rich, because you already are. No one who is rich walks around all day saying, I desire to be rich. The rich person thinks about how to invest, how to enjoy, how to expand. If you want to collapse time, you have to stop desiring your dream. You have to start inhabiting it. Desire implies that you lack it. Assumption implies that you have it. You must kill the desire by replacing it with the certainty of possession. The delayed mirror, the illusion of reality. Here we reach the point where most fail and quit. You do the work. You assume the I am rich, you feel powerful, but you open your eyes, look at your bank app and see. Balance 10 zeros. Your logical mind screams, you are a liar, look at reality, you are broke. And their faith breaks. You return to the identity of poor. You must understand the physics of the delayed mirror. Physical reality, matter, is dense. It moves slowly. Imaginary reality, consciousness, is instantaneous. When you change your identity in front of the mirror of reality, the reflection does not change instantly. There is a lag. It is like the light of the stars. When you look at a star in the sky, you are seeing the light it emitted thousands of years ago. Perhaps the star already died, but you still see its past light. Your current reality is the light of your dead star. It is the reflection of your I am from 2 years ago. It is not the present truth. It is a historical echo. The metaphysical master knows this. When the master sees his account at zero, he does not react. He does not get scared. He says, this is the reflection of my old self. It is ancient history. I don't care. I know who I am now. The master ignores the evidence of the senses, the delayed mirror, and stays faithful to his new invisible identity. He knows that if he holds the image in front of the mirror long enough, the mirror will have no choice but to update the reflection. The key is persistence in the identity during the lag time, the actor's method, embodying the character. Konstantin Stanislavski, the father of the modern acting method, taught his actors not to pretend, but to be. He told them, "Do not act as if you are cold. Remember the cold, feel the cold, become the cold. You must apply this to your life. You have to write the script for your new character, the successful you. How does that you walk? How does he talk? How does he breathe? How does he treat waiters? What kind of books does he read?" Many people try to change their lives by changing the exterior first. "When I have the expensive suit, I will walk with confidence." Wrong. Walk with confidence in your old clothes and the expensive suit will arrive. Change is from the inside out. Start walking as the king of your world. Start speaking with the authority of someone who has already triumphed. Modify your physical posture. When you change your physiology and your psychology to match your vision, you are shouting to the universe, "This is my new frequency. Tune into me." And the universe obeys. This is not fake it till you make it. That implies deception. This is embody it until you are it. It is an act of vibratory truth. The coherence of I am. You cannot have a divided identity. You cannot say I am rich in your morning meditation and then spend the day complaining about how expensive coffee is. That is vibratory schizophrenia. If you are rich in identity, you do not complain about prices. Perhaps you choose not to buy something because you don't feel like it, but not because you lack it. If you are healthy in identity, you don't spend the day talking about your symptoms and looking up diseases on Google. Your internal and external conversation must be coherent with your I am. Watch your words. Eliminate phrases like "I can't afford it," "This is impossible for me," that "I am a mess." Those are blasphemies against your own divine name. Substitute them with silence or with the truth of your vision. If you can't pay for something yet, don't say "I am poor." Say, "At this moment I choose not to buy it." The death of the old man. For the new you to be born, the rich, the healthy, the loved, the old you must die. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. Many want success, but they don't want to let go of their victim identity. They are in love with their stories of suffering. "It's just that I had a hard childhood. It's just that they betrayed me. It's just that this is how I am." As long as you keep telling your old story, you keep reviving the old man. You keep him connected to a ventilator. You have to disconnect him. You have to hold a psychological funeral for your limited self. Say goodbye to him. Thank him for what he taught you, survival, but tell him you no longer need him for the stage of prosperity. Stop frequenting the places the old you frequented. Stop talking about the topics the old you talked about. Rebirth requires a sacrifice, the sacrifice of who you were for who you are going to be, the law of assumption and social gravity. When you start to change your identity, you will notice resistance. Your lifelong friends, your family, your environment, they will try to return you to your old form. This is social gravity. They will say, "Who do you think you are? You are John from the neighborhood, the one who's always been broke." They are the guardians of the delayed mirror. They only see your past. Do not get angry with them. Simply do not accept their definition of you. Jesus said, "A prophet is not honored in his own country." Sometimes, to sustain your new I am, you have to temporarily